So, hi Duncan, pleasure to speak to you today at Money 2020. Before we begin, maybe you could introduce yourself, your company and your role.
Hi Andre, thanks for having me. I'm Duncan, I'm Chief Product and Growth Officer here at GoCardless. We are a FinTech, obviously, and we're on a mission to become the world's bank payment network.
Fantastic. And GoCardless were the first to market in VRPs. So what's the history of VRPs? And tell us a bit about your VRP strategy.
Yeah, so we're really excited about VRPs. As you say, first to market, we've been there from the beginning. We collected the very first VRP in the world, I think, was the way open banking described it, back in the regulatory sandbox when they were still trying to iron out the rules, how it would work, the different parameters and things. So we did that from one of our own customers, in fact, to collect payments for GoCardless fees. And since then, we've been working with open banking on all the details, how to make it work, helping to advise them on, from obviously the payment provider perspective. And now we're super excited to have announced, the first people who are going to be using it with us. So we have Nude Finance, who are showing the value of savings. The savings and investments use case, so helping people to save for deposits on their houses. Super excited to get started with them. We're also working on the non-sweeping side with NatWest and with Charity Right, who are obviously such a worthy cause to be showing the value of that. Not me to me, but in fact the very opposite, you to a worthy cause. And plenty more, the likes of Plum, our customers really excited about it. So yeah, for us, it's really going to be about providing a better service in cases where speed really matters, like savings, moving money to your own accounts. But we're really excited about displacing cards from the card on file use cases you've got in those commercial use cases, the not sweeping ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And in your opinion, what are the key drivers for open banking? What does the industry need to do to meet its potential?
Look, we think that open banking is one of the driving forces behind a whole new era. So we've spent 50, 60, 70 years watching cash turn to cards. The next 50, 60, 70 years for us is going to be about, hopefully faster, is going to be about the world of cards moving to bank payments because they're faster, they're cheaper, they're more reliable and they're more secure. And open banking alongside real-time payments, push real-time payments that we've seen, faster payments in the UK and beyond, they're the two big drivers. So the big picture for me is that open banking is part of that next generation. I think what you've seen so far is really exciting use cases starting to emerge. It's building momentum. I think that the key challenges are always going to be about the quality of those user experiences and the consistency of those user experiences between banks. On our side, we do a lot to avoid issues with that by combining it seamlessly with direct debit and other bank payments. If they're not available, if you don't use online banking, you can fall back. But really for the long term, we need to see that continued improvement and consistency in those user experiences for the payers.
Okay, so and in addition to that, what we would love to hear about your expansion strategy. What your plans, your strategy going forward.
Yeah, so we've started with it in the UK, where obviously it's been highly developed, and we've grown up ourselves, working on both one-off instant bank pay, as we call it, on other use cases around security. So we have verified mandates where we can avoid what I call the Jeremy Clarkson problem, because he said the bank details weren't in any way in need of security, and then had the charity direct debit set up for him. So verified mandates is about solving that. As we look to the future, VRP is a big part of it. It's also equivalents around the world, so Pay to in Australia we're really excited about. Gets a lot less attention here at Europe Money 2020, but actually we think that's going to be massive. We're excited to roll out around Europe. We've got Germany now, we're adding others. But I think the biggest long-term one for me is where you start getting into these card-on-file use cases, and you go beyond, making existing bank payment situations better, which is where we've started, and you start getting into, let's take cards out some of these card-on-file situations. I think that's the part that's going to be the most exciting longer-term future.
And in terms of open finance more generally, maybe you can talk a bit about the kind of opportunities and challenges just around the world.
Yeah, it's been exciting to see other countries start to follow the lead of obviously Europe and the UK on this. I think actually you might see Europe get leapfrogged on this because, as I said, you look at places like Australia and you see them learning from what happened in Europe, which revolutionary, world leading, but mistakes have been made. You can learn from them. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that evolves in other parts of the world. We're super excited about that continued trend, and as I said, sort of seeing whether the rest of the world can learn from the lessons, and also, with my panel here later about PSD3, how much Europe can learn from the lessons of itself and how much Europe can springboard itself to the next part. So yeah, really excited to see it spreading around, our global network that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so and HMRC processed £5.2 billion of open banking payments, making it arguably the best use case in the world. By this time next year, by Money 2020 next year, what would you say is the best use case for open banking?
Yeah, I think there's a big difference between value and volume of payments. So I think what you'll start seeing in the next year actually is much greater volume of payments than that, because much smaller payments, but far more of them. So I think the two bits I think you'll start seeing it. I think with the VRP savings use cases that we talked about earlier, I think you're going to start seeing that really start to make a difference for lots of individual consumers. And then actually I also think that by the end of 2023 in particular, Pay2 in Australia is going to be big enough that Europe's going to finally have to take notice that actually things are moving quite fast in Australia too. So I think that one is going to be another big real-time banking API payments success story.
Interesting. So Australia potentially might actually overtake the UK. Brazil might overtake the UK.
Yeah. I mean, Australia is smaller, so at a certain point it sort of caps out, right? It's never going to be the size of the total US market or anything. But I think you'll see them leapfrog VRP, for instance. You'll see Pay2 has leapfrogged VRP once it launches because it allows the commercial use cases as well as the sweeping ones. So yeah, I think you're going to see, as you say, other countries start to be able to accelerate through it by learning those lessons and getting more high quality experiences in the hands of users faster. Whether they stay ahead, who knows, whether they get ahead, but I think their trajectory will be faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, very exciting times for GoCardless. Obviously, huge potential for growth. And it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. And, thank you very much for your time and enjoy Money 2020.
Thanks for having me.